What's going on, gamers? We got an up-to-date video here by PlayStation Ready. As you know, he loves PlayStation. He's really all about PlayStation. And he's saying that the original PS5 is failing and that there may be some more models because by the time they launched it, getting to now, he was thinking that things were going to be happening. So this video is going to be very interesting. If you still have an OG PS5 model, let me know. I have a PS5 Pro, so no. And also down in the comments, most people are saying, you know the deal here. Uh, Horizontal always, no problem. Yeah, that's definitely the best way to go about it. But apparently there was still a way with that, but I don't know. You guys let me know. Let's see what he has to say.
Are starting to fail thanks to the liquid metal on the APU, and here's how to tell if that's what's causing your problem. After that, let's talk about the latest update on the PS5 car. And finally, why is Sony saying we've never seen this before in one of their most under talked about games? How's it going, everyone? As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. This is PS Ready, my channel all about PlayStation. Hope you're having a great week playing a ton of video games, and I hope you at least get a couple days off for Christmas. I know it's different based on whatever jobs people have, but like getting those couple days off at the end of the year is always great. I'm at the end of Leon's campaign in Resident Evil 6. I'm still playing through this so I can stop thinking about it. It's like the one blind spot I have in the Resident Evil franchise. If you play this game in the correct order, so Jake's campaign, then Chris's campaign, then Leon's campaign, then Ada's, it gets better in ascending order. I think Jake's is by far the worst, and then it gets a little bit better with Chris's, and then it ratchets up to high quality for Leon. It's like they worked on that one the most, and then the other one's the least. I'm loving Leon's campaign. It's basically like National Treasure with zombies. After that, I'm either going to play Metal Gear Solid Delta or Mafia: The Old Country, one of those two games, but let me know what you're playing down in the comments below. But with the intro out of the way, let's get into the first news story here and talk about the latest update on the liquid metal cooling issue on launch PS5s, because it's actually becoming a problem. If you haven't kept up with this here on the channel, basically what happened is back when Final Fantasy 16 came out is when this all started, because when people were getting to one point in the game when everything was going crazy on screen because all of the cutscenes are rendered in engine, their PS5 would shut off and reboot, and they were effectively stuck in the game until
I didn't have that problem playing that game, and I got the platinum. I beat it on hard mode as well.
a patch came out and fixed the issue. Then we got news that basically if your PS5 was caked with dust, that was causing it to overheat because the fan couldn't cool the rest of the PS5 enough, so it wasn't actually the liquid metal. So the issue went away for a little while. Then it came back when someone put out a news story that if you kept your PS5 launch edition vertical, the liquid metal would pool at the bottom of your APU and leave about half of it exposed to nothing. So like it would get really hot, and that would cause your PS5 to overheat and potentially damage your APU. Then it turned out that the person who shared that news story was just repairing the console and they did it wrong, so they actually caused the issue. But the latest update to this news story makes the entire thing a lot more real because it coincides with Sony actually making updates to the PS5 Slim and PS5 Pro to correct this. So if you have a launch PS5, I've noticed a lot of people in the comments and in news articles when I go through news for these videos reporting that their PS5, after like 4 or 5 hours of extended gaming, it doesn't really matter what game you're playing, it will just black screen, shut off, and reboot. And then after that, it's fine for another 4 or 5 hours and it'll do that again. And this has been an issue that's been plaguing people. Sony's support isn't really all that helpful because, you know, the PS5s that we're talking about are.
So this is the guy, I think I've seen him before. So okay, December 18th. That's not too far from now. Okay. And then we have 1K likes, but I don't know. That's why I want to ask people, is that happening to you? Because I think somebody would have said something, obviously.
Or at least 3 or 4 years old because they're all launch units and no one really knows what's causing the issue. So when people get these issues, they turn to third-party fixers to repair the issue, and the fixer is basically come out and said, look, the issue is liquid metal over time is seeping out of the APU's little tray, and when that happens, it basically leaves the center of the chip exposed to just air. So like there's a little cooling pad that touches the chip, but other than that, it's not getting adequate cooling. So if you play for a long time, the PS5 has checks in place, right? Like it's got little sensors that say, hey, when the PS5 reaches this temperature, go into critical shutdown mode, restart, and then you'll be just fine because the cooling basically resets because, you know, it's running at a hot temperature, but when you take the energy out of the equation by shutting it off, it cools down very quickly and then you can just restart and then it ramps up again. So like it's fixing itself by shutting off. That's good. But if it keeps happening over and over again, that repeated abuse can damage the chip in the PS5. PS5. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Sony has taken steps to address this with the latest iteration of the PS5 Slim and PS5 Pro. They put a little like lip around the tray that holds the APU so that the liquid metal stays firmly in place, whether you're having the console vertically or horizontally, but that doesn't solve the problem for launch unit users. And
No, it doesn't. But Sony did actually come out and reply about that, and that was back in summer earlier this year. Back in like I think June or July, somewhere around that market. And I seen somebody talk about it recently. Then I seen that guy make a post that he pulled up on the 18th. So if you're just talking about OG models, then maybe I think they said that they would replace that or do something about it. If you would send it to them or something like that. That for sure, I know they said they would do. But I'm interested if anybody on my page or anybody that's going to be watching this video has experienced that issue. If you have, let me know down in the comments below. And is it going to be the OG model? Because there's somebody trying to say that this could happen again to like the new models. I'm like, I don't know about that. But we'll see. Because, I mean, you don't have enough time yet to let it pass to see if that's possible. I can understand the OG model stuff kicking in now, but this is something interesting.
And that kind of sucks because if this happens to you and it becomes annoying enough of an issue where you'd want it fixed, your only two options are really to buy a new PS5 or pay Sony a fee to repair it, which, people don't love that repair process because they make you pay for shipping both ways. It takes forever, like up to a month or two. And then sometimes the issue comes back. It's really reminding me of the Red Ring of Death issue that everyone had
that's
on the
not
360
good.
back in the day. That was the worst summer of my life when I got that issue because my
I thought they said they would fix it. I didn't know they're going to make you pay for shipping for the bag. That's kind of funny. Oh boy. I mean, that's not your fault. That's their fault.
parents refused to run the AC in the summer, so my Xbox overheated and it basically caused that issue to
Oh,
happen
that was
two
terrible. I remember
times to me.
that.
I got it repaired, it happened again. Xbox told me I was SOL, so I had to buy the slim model of the 360, and that's exactly what people are basically forced into doing right now. And I think the only
Yeah.
reason Sony's able to get away with this is because it's happening to 5-year-old consoles. Like, I don't know what the actual lifespan of these things are, but the warranty on anything you buy electronics wise is generally only a year. So if you're outside of
Yeah.
that year and this happens to you, then you're going to have to deal with it. But traditionally,
Ah,
when you'd run into issues like
yeah.
this on the PS3 and the PS4, like with the PS3, you'd either run into the yellow light of death or your Blu-ray laser would break, and then you'd have to send it in for repair. By the time that happened, if you did have to upgrade to a PS3 Slim, they were already down.
Well, I don't know if it was the PS4 or the PS3, but when you would put a disc in there would be a problem where it wouldn't eject the disc out and it would get stuck in there. That's happened before with the Xbox 360 disk drive aspect as well. You know, you'd hit it and it would open up. It wouldn't. It would just you would hear the sound like it was trying to open, but it wouldn't. And in a PlayStation world, the CD just would not come out, or the DVD or the Blu-ray. I mean, Blu-ray, whatever the hell it was. Yeah, but you guys know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that was the difference. Is that with Sony, with the way they designed it, there was nothing being pushed out like a tray. You know what I mean? With the 360, had a tray that it would come out. It would get stuck sometimes. And the PlayStation, the disc wouldn't just come out. Blu-ray, yeah, because they started with the PS3 era. But this is interesting hearing about this because I've never had nobody tell me that their original PS5 went out on them. So we got 28,000 views here too. Interesting stuff.
Down to like $200 from their launch price of $500 or $600. And with the
Yeah.
PS4, those were running into overheating issues and the disk drives would break. And if you were out of warranty, you still had a relatively cheap option, right? Like you could go buy a used one, you could get a PS4 Slim because the price would drop dramatically over the lifespan of the console. And that hasn't happened this time around. The best price you can get currently for a PS5 or PS5 Slim or PS5 Pro is like $50 off. And when it comes to the PS5, it basically brings it down to the price it was when the thing came out. And if you miss the Christmas sale, like if this happens to you in January or February of next year, you're going to pay more for the replacement PS5 Slim than you paid for the launch model that's having issues. And that's a really crappy scenario all around. I don't want to hammer Sony on this too hard because 5 years is a lot longer than a lot of their other consoles have lasted me. Like I had issues with basically every PlayStation console leading up to the PS5.
What he's saying is reasonable because nobody's going to give you a free 5-year warranty. And usually, like, if this is happening, like, within a couple months, you got the console, 6 months, even a year, that sucks. There's something needs to be done about that. Even 2 years kind of sucks. But 5 years, that is kind of difficult to deal with. But it is funny that they make you pay for the shipping and stuff, though.
5, and my PS5 definitely lasted the longest, and I think I mitigated this issue by having multiple PS5s because I have the launch, the slim, and the PS5 Pro. And I do like that they've taken corrective steps with each generation of the PlayStation 5 Slim to make it more fixed. Like the first version had the lip above the tray that kept the liquid metal in, and they've actually increased the size of that lip with each new iteration of the PS5 Slim. I just kind of hope that this is going to happen to all PS5s from the launch era, that it all kind of happens in a concentrated group of people, so the people get loud enough that Sony has to introduce a program to fix it for free. Because with the console prices continuing to go up, having your console break would really blow, and I just would hope that Sony would kind of put in the effort to at least do a free repair program. I think that's something that they really should consider, because I've tracked this issue since it started, and I've always been there to kind of point out when it was someone, you know, not cleaning their console, or if it was someone taking apart a console and causing the issue themselves. This time, I'm pretty certain that it actually is the design of the launch PS5 causing the problem from the jump. So yeah, I'll keep my eye on it. I'll let you know if Sony does introduce a repair program, but for right now, the best thing you can do is make sure your PS5 is well ventilated and your fans are well cleaned. It's really easy to clean the fan. You just take the side plate off, and then the fan comes out with like one screw, or it might be two screws. And then once it's out, you just disconnect a little cable, and then you can blow it out with compressed air. That will keep your console running cooler and stop it from getting hot, which is what causes the liquid metal issue. But moving on.
Yeah, and people smoke a lot in their rooms too and all that. But and if you're afraid to do that, and you realize you might mess up something, if you have a local Best Buy, they'll do it. Definitely if you have that 2-year warranty thing with them, which I think everybody should have that. I mean, it's pretty nice. You can take whatever in there and they'll fix it for you. Otherwise, they're charging you out the ass to do that outside of it. You'd be better off getting that 2-year plan with them. Because there's some people that are afraid to mess up when they do that. Though it's not that hard to open a PlayStation and get the, dust out, which I think everybody should do that at least every 6 months or so, or always keep your stuff clean and look at it every single day. Um, so that's pretty much it on this subject. Will you buy the PS5 car? I mean, that's pretty funny, but that's not what this is about. Yeah, you guys have to let me know. What do you think about this? I've heard about this before. I've done a video on this one time, but I wanted to see what the hell was going on the most up-to-date video and going out here in the comments. Like I said, horizontal always, no problem. My PS5 has been vertical since day one. Mine's a launch system. I play it daily, and some days stream 6 to 10 hours, no problem. My system hasn't had any issues at all. Same. Vertical gang, same, but mine also isn't a launch console. But these are just a few people. I'm pretty sure there's always like that faulty, like I tell people, like anything you manufacture, you're not perfect, you know what I mean? So there's always going to be like a small percentage of defects. So OG PS5, no problem. I've never had an issue with mine. I'd always kept it vertical. Just put your console laying flat and boom, problem solved. My 3-year-old PS5 is always horizontal and clean 3 times a year. Never had issues, even after 15-hour sessions. So we see people down here saying, they're not really having much issues. I don't see anybody down here saying anything. And I'm pretty sure you guys are going to think the same way. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out. Have a great day. Keep enjoying gaming. Because 2026, they're trying to make it hard on gamers. Hopefully you guys got that deal. If you just got your PS5, you ain't got nothing to worry about later.